Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse put a major focus on Gwen Stacy, aka Spider-Woman. And of course, she had a pretty big part in Into the Spider-Verse as well, but for Across the Spider-Verse, she really became a co-lead of this franchise to the point of where honestly, I think she's maybe even more of a lead in Across the Spider-Verse than Miles is. I mean, she starts out the movie, and the final shot of the movie is on her as well. So it was really her movie, and that's honestly really exciting because I love her character just as much as I love Miles' character. So I love that she's getting that extra exploration. I love also that she's now referred to as Spider-Woman because, this whole time we've been calling her Spider-Gwen, which is her name in the comics, but I mean, in universe, it makes sense that she would be referred to as Spider-Woman instead of Spider-Gwen because that's literally her secret identity. So I think that's pretty awesome. Of course, we know we're actually getting a spin-off movie, a Spider-Woman spin-off movie. I assume it is focusing on this Spider-Woman. Then again, that's not officially confirmed, but it is an animated Spider-Woman spin-off, so that's exciting. And of course, we will see her return in Beyond the Spider-Verse as well. But where is she going to go in Beyond the Spider-Verse? We really don't even know what the plot of Beyond the Spider-Verse is going to be about. I mean, we know the basic stuff. Like, there was a lot of stuff set up in that movie, specifically with that cliffhanger and everything. But for Gwen Stacy specifically, where does her story go from here? Well, with their rumors of being plenty of live action sequences in Beyond the Spider-Verse, having these animated characters featured in live action worlds, it makes sense that this next rumor may possibly be true because there's a brand new report from Giant Freaking Robot, which usually is a very, very unreliable source, kind of just throws stuff out there that usually ends up being fake. So chances are this probably is a fake report, but at the same time, it sounds so awesome and so cool that I really, really do hope that this ends up being the case because this new report claims that both Emma Stone and Bryce Dallas Howard will both return as Gwen Stacy in Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse, of course, both being in live action as well. So, how would this work? Why would this be the case? Well, again, you're putting the focus on Gwen Stacy. And when it comes to these two specifically, I mean, Emma Stone as a live-action Spider-Gwen is something I have been dying to see for years. That's been one of my biggest pitches for The Amazing Spider-Man 3, if we ever get that, is have our Andrew Garfield Spider-Man meet a Gwen from another universe where that Gwen is alive. She is Spider-Gwen or Spider-Woman, and she lost her Peter just like how he lost his Gwen. Like, that would be the greatest thing ever, and that maybe could even be what we see here. We could see Andrew Garfield Spider-Man featured in this sequence as well, but just to finally get a live-action Emma Stone as Spider-Gwen. I remember there was rumors we might get that for Spider-Man No Way Home, but now to finally actually get it, especially to have these other Gwens to meet our animated Gwen. It makes so much sense because, in Spider-Verse, obviously the biggest message is that anybody can wear the mask. But what you will mainly notice is that the majority of these Spider people are Peter Parkers or variations of that, like Peter Parker or Pavitra. I can't even pronounce Spider-Man India's name, but they're all, for the most part, variations of Peter Parker. But then you have some other characters like Miles Morales, like Gwen Stacy, like Miguel O'Hara. And so I think it would be really a nice idea to showcase that just because pretty much every variant we've seen is a version of Peter Parker, to show that there are also variants and other versions of Miles Morales. As we saw at the end of Across the Spider-Verse, there's a Prowler Miles. To get other versions of Gwen Stacy, I think is great. And one of the best examples of that would be an Emma Stone Gwen Stacy, probably the best ever adaptation of Gwen Stacy in live action, although she doesn't have much competition, but I mean, it's such a great character, and to have her finally be Spider-Gwen would be awesome. Now, as for Bryce Dallas Howard, of course, she played Gwen Stacy in the Raimi films, in Spider-Man 3, wasn't a huge fan of her character, she wasn't, super comics accurate, at all. But still, it would just be cool to kind of pay homage, whether it is the same version of the character or, again, maybe a Spider-Gwen version of the character. I think that would be really cool just to kind of pay homage and reference that, hey, she played the character in live action, so now we're going to get to see her as Spider-Gwen. Again, I just think it would be really cool to get these multiple versions of Spider-Gwen, and if you're going to do that, why not bring in Haley Steinfeld as a live-action Spider-Gwen as well? I mean, she voices, of course, the animated version in these Spider-Verse movies. Why not get a live-action version of her? I think that would be a nice element to add in, as well as, of course, Shameik Moore really wants to play Miles Morales in live-action, and obviously, we know they're going to do a live-action Miles Morales now. Amy Pascal and Sony confirmed that a couple weeks ago, and Shameik Moore has made it clear during this press tour he wants to play Miles Morales in live-action. Personally, I mean, I love Shameik Moore. He's great as the voice of Miles Morales, but I just think he's too old to play the character in live action. I mean, he's almost 30 years old. I want a younger Miles for our main, like, if it's an MCU Miles or whatever it may be. So this would be a great opportunity to get Shameik Moore as live action Miles Morales, but just as a small cameo and presence in one of these Spider-Verse movies, most likely Beyond the Spider-Verse, since this is the final film of the trilogy. So, guys, there's a lot of possibilities with this. Again, this is coming from a super unreliable source, so I kind of doubt that it's true, but I really, at the same time, really hope that it is, because this would be so awesome. This would just be the coolest thing ever. And yes, it would be majorly fan servicey, but, if they can work it into the story, and again, Spider-Gwen, our Gwen Stacy, Spider-Woman, seeing other versions of herself, that would probably be a great confidence booster and probably would really tie into her character development and her character being built up now that she's found her band at the end of Across the Spider-Verse. I think it's just the perfect thing to do and makes so much sense, and just, again, would be so awesome to see. So anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about this rumor? Do you think it's true? Do you want it to be true? And if it is true, would you want to see them just as their respective Gwen Stacy's, or do you want to see them as live action Spider-Gwens? And possibly, how do you feel about a live action Shameik Moore as Miles and Haley Steinfeld as Gwen Stacy as well? So anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video and hit the subscribe button so I can keep up to date on everything that goes on in the Marvel life.